What up? What up? Welcome in everybody to Profit Picks. If you're new, we do always start by being transparent. But yesterday we didn't even have any games. No show, no games. I will tell you, it's good to be back with my friend Rob Veno. I saw him while he was away. But Rob, we had a lot of guys asking, "Where's Rob Veno? Where's Rob Veno?" People DMing me, "Where's Rob Veno? Is he all right?" And I said, "Yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back soon." So hopefully, did you enjoy your trip? And like I said off here, I know you're happy to be home.
Yeah, it's a little different to work on the road when you're in Las Vegas, Ski. Of course, um, we had a little lunch, you and I and Teddy covers one day, and the rest was kind of a blur. Got to see that sphere. You never have to twist my arm. You know, when my wife says, "Do you want to go to Las Vegas?" It's not an arm twister. We just get on the plane and go. So yeah, but 6 days of nonstop go 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 is enough. Let's get home and certainly now anchored back in and ready to go. A huge card today, Ski, in this NBA. Huge, huge card.
Yeah, it's a thousand days for me or more of go go go,
Mm,
because I
I'm
live over
telling you.
here. But yeah, let's get some actionable info. We got a lot of games. People are happy to see you. Kyle was one of the people asking. He says the return of Vino. There's Josh too. So people happy to see you
Hello,
back
chat.
as well as I am. Wayne, reminding everybody to hit the like button. Appreciate that. And let's get to it. First game we have is Magic and Pacers. This game opened up Pacers minus 6.5. They're now 5 point favorite, and the total continues to climb. It looks like open 220.5, somewhere around there. And then highest I see right now is 227. Actually, the consensus is 227. We know Paolo's out, Wendell Carter Jr. is out. Nimhard is a game time decision, and they'll continue to be without Neesmith. Um, it's it's like hard for me to even think about backing the Magic without Paolo. Like the offense just looks so bad. I know the Pacers aren't the best defensive team. Um, what do you think about this, Rob? So we heard guys, whether it was the coach or players, talking about already. They're going to get back to playing the Pacers way and play with pace, and we've seen them do that in the past few games. So I do think this game will be up tempo, but can the Magic do enough offensively to get this one over?
Yeah, it's hard because they haven't, right? Ski, the last couple, very low scoring out of the Magic, and it's the fifth game of the road trip. Sometimes that becomes like a little throwaway game. Let's just get home. Especially the way this road trip has gone for Orlando. And the Pacers, as you mentioned, they have gotten back to scoring. So perhaps the team total is the better way to look on the Indiana side because Orlando hasn't been good defensively or offensively, really, since Banchero went down. Big, big part of that team. I think we all realize now just how much. I know it's comprised of a lot of good parts, but this seems to be the key to the whole engine here on both ends of the floor. So if it were me, I would probably look to the Indiana team total side, depend on them. They seem to have that little bit of race engine style back again where they're scoring and they're running. It took a little while to get going. As I said last week, I kind of banged my head against a brick wall thinking it would start right out of the chute. It didn't. But now I had them the other night. Their team total against Dallas when they won that game, they put up in the 130s. I know it was overtime, but they were still good over the team total for 4 quarters. So I would expect they try and take advantage of a road weary team missing their star here and just try and run the way the Pacers do and grind the other side down. I would probably look Pacers team total.
Yeah, that could be the way to go right there. Pacers team total, best number I see right now is when it opened 113.5. You can get a 115.5 at BOL. So I could absolutely see that happening. Um, yeah, I'll write that on my short list because I was trying to find something and I felt nervous about the Magic. So I think that's the best way to go. Next up, we will go to Pistons and Hornets. This game opened up Hornets -2. We see a flip of favorites, and I got to fix the banner because it just flipped. Detroit is now 1.5 point favorite. Same two people out for Detroit, Clintman and Thompson. For the Hornets, it looks like LaMelo is game time. That could be a reason. Nick Richards out and Mark Williams out. Jeffrey's out. Looks like also Cody Martin is probable. I don't have much on this game, Vino. So this one game I kind of wanted to just skip over it, but I would think they play slow enough. It's a lack of offense, especially if ball is not out there. I would think under. Any thoughts from you on this one?
Yeah, I would. Well, first of all, I didn't play the game. Got no real interest in the game. Can't I mean, mainly because I can't get a good read on Detroit yet. But I'll say this about the Hornets. We did a show, you and I together, your show opening day, and they played Houston. The Hornets did that night, and the total was bet down like crazy, and it was bet down on anticipation of the new head coach coming over from the Boston assistant. From the Boston bench and predicating this team's philosophy on shooting threes and defense, much like Boston does. And Charlotte, boy, they look good in the second half of that game defensively, right, Skee? Since then, they've allowed 125, 114, 133, 124, 113, 114. So all that good defense is really going out the window. It's become more talk than reality. But to your point, without knowing if LaMelo's going to play, it's hard to get involved with over, and it's hard for me to get involved with under the way the defense has gone. So I let it go. Again, I don't have a good read on Detroit, so maybe the chat's got some good advice for us, but I don't think that I'm going to get involved in that game.
Well, it's starting to make sense. I mean, when I see the injury report with LaMelo questionable, and then Casey's reminding us, I mean, Pistons did win back-to-back games. Hornets have lost 3 in a row. So maybe a little bit of two teams going different directions right now. Kyle's also in the chat. He says Pistons up, Hornets rebounding fell off a cliff when Richards got hurt. Pistons been one of the best rebounding teams in the NBA. Who's going to keep Detroit off the glass? Taj Gibson. I'm with him on this.
69.
That's good points right there to maybe back the Pistons. And yeah, they said the Hornets rebounding fell off a cliff. It makes sense. I think that is the right side. So I'm gonna mark that on my list too. Pistons -1.5 is the best number I see right now. U Capper says, "Don't disrespect Todd Gibson." Kyle says he did bet those Pistons last night. Don't care if LaMelo plays or not. Dominant rebounding discrepancy for Detroit. All right, I think I can be talked into that. U Capper as well, like in the Pistons. It sounds like the right side to me. Sounds like the market is adjusting. So good stuff from everybody, the chat included. Next game up, we have Golden State and Boston. Opened up Celtics -7.5. They're now a 6-point favorite. And the total not really moving. It's sitting at 230. Injury report. Melton out for the Warriors. Still no Jaylen Brown. No Porzingis for this Boston team. And Rob, the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about this game is, well, it's two things actually. But the first thing, I know Jason Tatum is pissed and wants to take it out on Steve Kerr for not playing him in the Olympics. That's the first thing that pops in my mind. Like, I can see Jason Tatum going crazy, but at the same time, no Jaylen Brown. There could be a lot more attention on him defensively. And the Warriors have been playing good. I think it was a stat. It was only a few teams that were top 10 in offense and defense, and both of these teams were 2 out of those 3 teams. So I think it's too many points. I think Golden State can compete, but if I want Celtics in any way, shape, or form, I think it's Tatum. How do you view it?
I could agree with that. Jason Tatum, especially. I mean, we know that in the NBA, these personal revenge type situations generally come through. I could not be on Boston without Jaylen Brown. I think you need him. We commented early in the season, Skee, on the fact that Golden State really upgraded this bench. Mm-hmm. And where Golden State third quarter used to be a thing and still kind of is, but Golden State all 4 quarters with Steph in the lineup has been really good. They can score it. They certainly defend it. They're playing with pace. Boston's not going to back away from pace. You can see the reason why the total's up at 230. Should be a high-scoring game. But I might slightly favor Golden State here plus the points. I know it's come down quite a bit. You got the best of the number at 7.5. You're only getting 6 here. But without that added score on the floor, without the threat of Jaylen Brown, and we don't know for sure I don't think we know for sure that he's not going to play, but it looks like it's trending that way. So probably a little Golden State, maybe a little bit of Golden State team total over in this one, simply because they are the team that's asked to do the least in the number. Totals 130, but you're only asking Golden State in some instances to get to 112. I know there's 111 and a halves out there. And to me, 112 in a fast-paced game where you can shoot threes, there's probably going to be, I don't know, 75, 80 threes going up in this game between these two. So I could look Golden State team total over 111 and a half as well.
Team total for Golden State. Um, man, I'm starting to think the chat is making some good points on this game, Rob. And I agree with you, Capper, while I'm still reading those comments. Says he assumes Tatum got motivation to shoot 30 times. Um, the chat, I gotta stop looking at the chat because they're making me laugh today. But the Warriors, Sab said the last time they played versus Celtics, I think he said either in this building or in general, they lost by 50. Here it is. Last time the Warriors played here, they lost by 50. And that's something you don't forget. Like only once in my life I ever lost by like a blowout, big blowout amount. And I still remember that game to this day. So I know they're thinking about that 50-point loss. So maybe they could have some motivation to play too. You put any stock into that, Rob?
Oh, I absolutely would. And like I say, they're playing good as is. Even when Steph Curry went out, they continued to play well. So this is a team that seems to have a different focus. And like I say, when you just go down their rotation, you can get to about 11 deep with this team and still feel good about who's on the floor. So for me, I know Boston's got a little bit of depth as well, but Golden State matches up really nice in this game. And, there's no rest advantage either way here. So I just think Golden State's going to put up points against this team, whether they win or lose. 111 and a half seems to be a little bit low.
You Capper. uh okay, it could be a little bit low. I agree. The chat thinks it's going to be points in this game. I couldn't talk anybody off of points. So I guess that's where we can all agree. Next game up, we have New York and Atlanta. Open -7, hasn't moved for New York. Total went up about a point, 226 or 226 and a half for the injury report here. Payne is game time. Achua and Robinson continue to be out for the Hawks. One of the games we got to look at. I mean, well, Trae Young is probable, but Hunter and Roddy are questionable. Bogdanovich, Bufkin, Zeller out. This game is not in New York, but I do know Trae Young is, he's done some things to that New York team. So I always, I'm a big Trae Young backer and believer. I don't think they play enough defense to my liking, but maybe an over or Atlanta team total. I don't know. I just don't like betting against Trae Young when it's the Knicks. That's just my personal opinion. Do you have any opinion on this game, Rob?
Yeah, I don't like betting the Hawks at all right now. So if it's Trae Young or not Trae Young, the one game they came through, they smashed New Orleans, which has become just an automatic fade. The Pelicans, you can't even look their way right now. So Atlanta hasn't done anything impressive here. The Knicks, you know me well enough now. I'm a situational bounce back guy, and the Knicks had their worst offensive performance in their last game against the Houston Rockets. That game was high scoring at halftime. In the second half, the Knicks offense went off the cliff, as did the Rockets. Knicks wind up only shooting 39% from the field in that game. Terrible night for them. I would expect a bounce back against a poor defensive team in Atlanta. To me, the Knicks have shown that on occasion they can put up enough points to not be afraid of this type of number 7. And again, Atlanta's bound to go cold at some point in time, at least in my mind. And their defense just doesn't compensate for that. Any cold stretch by Atlanta, they can't seem to make up. Again, unless it's New Orleans and you win 126, 115 or whatever it was. So I think the Knicks are probably the right side now. Having said that, I didn't go to my pocket yet. I didn't go to the window yet with this one. But the Knicks, as you like to say, Skee, is on a short list and could end up being a play for me in some way, shape, or form.
All right, good stuff there. A lot of people in the chat agree with that. And just gotta say, man, Hey, UCapper, he said he knows he would win. Only time UCapper see me play basketball was coming from the strip club, still have drunk playing. And I don't think he knows for real. So I haven't even drank in 2 days. You don't want to see me right now, UCapper. Next game up. Next game up, we'll go Spurs and Rockets. I think I was actually drinking tequila right before I went to go play that day. UCapper. But San Antonio and Houston -5.5 was the opener, and it looks like 6.5 currently. Total open 216.5 and drop about a point and a half or two. I see a 214.5, but mostly I see 215. And I think I agree with that move down. But let's look at the injury report. Trey Jones out, Devin Vassell out, Sohan out, Dylan Brooks game time, Eason game time, and Steven Adams looks like he's out. So I know on my list, because I wrote some down from last night too, that I have a whole list here, but this game has a couple looks on it. I was looking at the under. I was even looking at Spurs team total under, and I was maybe thinking about the Rockets. So first of all, I'll just pull this up because I want to look at it. I know these are the reasons why I was looking. Or actually, I'll pass it to you, Rob, while I pull this up. But those are the looks I'm looking at. Do you agree with any?
I could definitely see some under Skee in this one. San Antonio's kind of played that way all season long. I have kind of a weird, and I'll ask the chat for a little help here because I don't necessarily follow player Instagram accounts or coach Instagram accounts, but it came to mind to me that, and I don't know how much of this, a very tiny bit could be incorporated, but a guy like Greg Popovich, who spent the last post-game press conference I saw out of him, not really talking about the game, but just raging about politics and coming up on the short end of politics last night. I just wonder if any of these guys, these players, these coaches, mindsets are different because they're upset of what went on last night. I could see Popovich certainly being upset, not that he's on the floor, but he is the head coach. Sometimes the team is an extension of a coach. I don't think I would want any part of San Antonio here. The Houston side, I think that a couple of quotes I saw, one out of Jalen Green, especially the way that they were able to pull away from the Knicks in the fourth quarter. They think that, a young team has to have wins like that to start gaining even more confidence. I think Houston might have that confidence right now. The number is what scares me here. 6.5 seems to be just a little bit too high to me, especially if I'm expecting a lower scoring game. So if I had the choice, I would probably take under. The injury list would suggest that maybe you want to be on under. But if Houston were a hair bit cheaper, and maybe Houston right out of the gate here, Skee, maybe get in, get out with the Rockets in this particular case based on situationals, not necessarily on the players on the floor. So I would probably look Houston's way, maybe early, and I can't disagree with you playing or suggesting anything toward the under.
Yeah, I might have to play this one 2 times. I don't really. I don't know if I agree with Pop really being fired up just because of the election last night or his team showing up. I think I'm going to disagree with that one, Rob, or that theory. But I want to take a look at this, and hopefully, I pushed the right thing. Yeah, I did. There we go. You can see this, right?
I see it.
So this is the Money Baller. Shout out to our guy RC in the chat. This is his website. So we look here pace wise so far this season, 29th and 27th should be a crawl. Both teams top 10 defensively. One thing that's lacking is the offense for the Spurs right here. So just looking at that, then I also look at Rockets number one as far as not allowing points off the fast break. Not that Spurs like to speed it up and have success in fast break anyway. I just think this one is played slower. I want to say under full game, but I think even more than that, probably Spurs team total under. And let me go down here. Team total, Spurs are 1-6 to the over, so 6-1 to the under. And opponent team total Rockets 6-1 to the under right here. So I think that's the way to go. When I look at their last few games, Rockets, I mean, held New York to 97. Golden State did run it up, but they held Dallas to 102. And they did just play the Spurs and hold them to 101. So I don't think the number I saw last night was 103 and a half. I'll double check it again right now. But 103 and a half, you can get 104 and a half actually. So it went down and probably came back up a little bit. I think under 104 and a half, first of all, Rob. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm going to add real quick here, Skee, because I just found a quote. I was going over some notes from this morning. This comes from the San Antonio side. Our defense has been really good when we've been connected and communicate and execute the game plan. That quote comes from interim head coach Mitch Johnson. It's important because Mitch Johnson is the head coach tonight because apparently Greg Popovich is ill, so he won't even be on the sidelines. So you can probably scratch any conspiracy theory or exterior theory that I may have had earlier. It's going to be Mitch Johnson on the bench who likes their defense. However, I could see a little motivation out of San Antonio defensively as well. They were up 26 against the Clippers the other night and blew that lead. I think that number was like 40 or 41 to 15 or 40 to 14 or something like that, and they blew that lead. So certainly defensively they could be motivated. I would probably lean toward that under, Skee. It seems to be making more and more sense, whether it be Spurs team total under, whether it be full game under, no matter what the case. That looks to be the right way to look here.
All right, so we kind of talking ourselves into that a little bit here. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna play it. I'm pretty positive I'm gonna play that. Um, Damn, I just kind of messed things up here. I wanted to talk about the Rockets side though. Like, why don't the Rockets cover? If I'm expecting the Spurs, like the Rockets defense to hold them down, and the Spurs offense is really struggling. I mean, Rockets offense has been solid, and Spurs defense is. I mean, Spurs defense is good, but Rockets offense has been, better than Spurs offense. Why won't they cover this game? How don't they cover?
Yeah, like I said earlier, the only thing that stopped me, Skee, was the number was 6.5, and I thought maybe that was a little steep for Houston. It's been bet up from 5.5 to 6.5, so money liked it early. It's kind of settled in at that price tag. If you trust that they can do enough in what you expect to be a lower scoring game, then you play it. And I'm not opposed to that. Just me personally, I didn't want to get involved with 6.5 on the Houston side.
Fair. All right. I think we did good stuff on this game. I'll probably go team total under and full game under. Let's move to the next game. Next game up, we have Cavs and Pelicans. This one opened up Cavs -7, mostly sevens. Total came down from 224 to 223. And injury report here. Let's actually just hit refresh once. A lot of people on this one. Levert game time. Tyson game time. They'll be without Imani Bates, Max Strus, and Dean Wade. For the Pelican side, looks like no DeJounte Murray, Trey Murphy, CJ McCollum, or Herb Jones. Zion, Hawkins, and Alvarado all questionable. I mean, what are we even doing with this Pelicans team? They might as well just just give up. Like, not even. I don't know. It's no way you could get me to bet the Pelicans. They've looked terrible. Cavs have been the opposite. They're 8-0 on fire. I see no reason to go against the Cavaliers here. Do you, Rob?
No, and I think I said it earlier. New Orleans basically at this point in time is an automatic fade. If you don't want to look at the game, then throw it away. But if you're going to play the game, it's hard to recommend the Pelicans. Skee, those last couple of losses that they had were just brutal. You have Atlanta come in and beat you by double digits, followed by Portland the next night. So you get right back on the floor. You think there would be some atonement in the Pelicans, but there was none. They get beat by 18 by the Blazers rather easily, too. It was really a wire-to-wire job for Portland. So it's a team right now that's kind of dormant. They don't show you any life. The DeJounte Murray injury, I know that when we were together last week, our good friend and colleague Teddy Covers placed a lot of emphasis on the injury to DeJounte Murray and how good they looked for the short period of time that he was involved this season. And then, of course, to the injury list, and they haven't looked good since. So I have no interest in them. That injury list gives me less interest in them, and it would have to be Cleveland or not. And it's interesting with Cleveland that the perception of them the last few years is pretty much a lower scoring defensive team. They put up some huge numbers offensively this year. So again, asking them to cover a price like this against a team that hasn't shown us much defense, the 7 shouldn't scare you if you like the Cleveland side. Again, the Cavs come off a pair of close games with Milwaukee where they scored pretty big, but they've been scoring big all season long. So numbers like this on the road probably don't scare you as much as they used to.
Yeah, it's a one-way ticket for me. On my short list from last night, I had Cavs -7.5, Cavs team total over. And I mean, I don't see New Orleans defense. I mean, especially with everybody hurt too. Like, there's no way I see them stopping the Cavs. I think the Cavs are averaging what, a little bit over 122 per game right now. Pelicans allowing 116 a game. I mean, is there either one of those you think is better than the other? Cavs full game or Cavs team total?
Well, if you were just going to do mathematics on it, and if we just go to logic school, right? We like to call it logic school. The team total is 115. So from what you just said, Cleveland averaging 122, the other side allowing 116 per game. Both of those are greater than 115. So logic would tell you you're supposed to be on team total here. Let me just look real quick, Skee, at what Cleveland has upcoming here. And it's not the front of back-to-backs. They've got rest. They'll have rest. So it's not even a situation where they might, let off the gas late, I wouldn't think. And they may have enough done in 3.5 quarters to get you over this number. So, you know me, I prefer to go total side. I'd probably try Cleveland team total over 115. Makes a lot of sense.
I have a question for you, Rob. It might be a little bit off topic. I know I talked to. Well, I guess I'm gonna leave it alone. Never mind. I'll leave it alone.
Oh,
We got a lot of games to keep going through, so I don't want to throw us off track. It was not game related. Lakers and Grizzlies. Grizzlies opened as a 1-point favorite. They're now 1.5 or 2, and the total has gone up from 227.5 to 231. Injury report. A lot of people on it for the Lakers. D'Lo is probable. So is Austin Reeves. Anthony Davis is truly questionable. Then you have Rui, who's doubtful. They'll be without Vanderbilt, without Christian Wood. For the Grizzlies, long list as well. There will be no Desmond Bain, no G.G. Jackson, no Marcus Smart, no Cam Spencer, no Vince Williams. Luke Kennard is game time, and Conchar is doubtful. So a lot of people on the injury list for both. I think if Anthony Davis was out, I mean, I was really ready to go run and just bet Memphis team total or first half team total or something. Like they were going to just feast at the rim all night. He's banged up still. You never know. I still could see Memphis having success in this game. I don't think this is a game I would want to be on the Lakers. What do you think about it, Veno?
yeah, I think if we just go by the numbers, they're both going to push pace. Memphis 5th in pace in the NBA so far this season. Lakers 9th. So you get enough scoring opportunities. Certainly in a game like that, I think you could get, with these two, you could get a lot of free throws. There are guys who like to get to the rim in this game that can get to the foul line as well, that produces points. So the problem, again, of course, is the fact that you're missing so many people. For Memphis, Ja Morant, Jalen Wells, Santi Aldama, Jaren Jackson, Zach Edey. That's your starting 5. And then the bench gets really thin with scoring. So I think if you like Memphis from a point scoring standpoint, you try them early, first quarter, before the bench gets involved. And maybe you can get them full game. But I think first quarter might be the best look for a Memphis team total. Lakers could do their share of damage too against that defense. Like I said, the other night, the game against the Knicks, I forget what the final was with the Memphis Knicks game where Ja had 2 360 reverse layups. A lot of points scored there as well. But this number is shot up. It was too high for my price range to 231, so I stayed away. But I do think Memphis first quarter team total over could be a look, Skee. I'm going to look it up right now to see what that number is. First
While
quarter,
you do that, let me actually pull this up too.
29 and a half.
For a first quarter team total,
Memphis 29 and a half. Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty doable. I just you can see this right.
Yes.
So just looking at things that I mean that I'm talking about, Lakers already, even with Anthony Davis, they're 29th in paint field goal percentage allowed. What does Memphis want to do? Relentlessly attack the paint. You see them third right there in paint attempts. So those are things I'm talking about, and I'm not sure the Lakers can take advantage of things that the Grizzlies are not good at. Corner three attempts, Lakers are dead last, and that's where Grizzlies allow teams to shoot the best at right there. And above the break three attempts, Lakers are bottom six, and that's where the Grizzlies are allowing people to take those shots. Lakers are not going to be able to feast in the paint in this game. That's making me think the Grizzlies are the side, and I agree. If I'm looking at a total, I probably just keep it a team total. I mean, you said first quarter, but first half, 71 Grizzlies are over to their first half team total. Let's see opponent team total. Lakers have allowed 4 out of 7 to go over. I think first quarter and first half team total the way to go in this game, but I think the Grizzlies win it too. Anything you want to add to that?
Memphis is the second highest scoring team in the league in the first quarter this year. They average 32 a game. If you narrow that down to what they do at home, it gets even better. They go to 33.8 per game, almost 34 in the first quarter. They've been fast starters, as you just indicated by Ronald's website, saying that they're 7-1 over first half. So, and 29 and a half, and all these numbers suggest that they can get there. The LA defense works into that as well. So I think as we speak here, Skee, I'm actually writing that down. Memphis first quarter team total over to me looks like a pretty good spot.
A lot of ways I think to get paid on this one. Mark likes the Grizzlies first half. Jamrock Kicks likes that play you just gave right there, that first quarter team total. Um, that Lakers bench too, yeah, it doesn't look very good. Somebody said that in the chat there. So I probably will lean Memphis, but I probably will play those team totals. If not, I'll play one. We'll keep it going. UCapper says, love seeing other people using the site. Appreciate you guys. Hey, we appreciate you putting it together. You're making capping easier for us. So appreciate you. Next game we'll go Bulls and Mavs. Opened up Mavs minus 10.5. They're now 9.5 point favorite. Total continues to climb from 230.5 all the way up as high as 238. I see right now. You have Giddy, game time decision, but he's probable. You have Jalen Smith, also probable. Same for Patrick Williams. Levine is the true game time decision, true questionable. They'll be without Lonzo. For Dallas, Derek Lively looks like he's doubtful. Exum is out. Kleba's out. PJ Washington's out. That kind of throws a wrench into some of the things I was thinking here. I mean, I think I talked to you about this here, Rob. You're a fan of that Chicago pace, right?
Yeah, number one in the league. Yep.
I was thinking, well, I'll let you go. And then I'll follow up. What do you think about this matchup? Are you going back to the over?
Well, I played this game already, so I'll tell you what I played. And I played it solely based off of a quote, a focus, and it's more situational. And I guess you could consider this fundamental because two pieces fit together here really well. But this is the Dallas side of the equation here. The focus tonight for Dallas is getting off to a better start. My play is Dallas first quarter minus 3.5. Here's what we know. It's Jason Kidd talking here. I think that's just kind of been our MO right now is the slow starts. We've got to figure out how to get the ball moving, get everyone touching it, and everybody moving. The energy has to be better. We've been flat here at home for whatever reason, so we got to be better with our energy. That's a coach pleading to his team. Let's go. I always like when I see that because I figure that this team especially probably does still receive Jason Kidd's messages and I think they'll come out quick. They trail 15-2 to the Pacers to start the game. Their most recent game out of the gate down 15-2, and you get a Bulls team that plays little defense. Right here's Nikola Vucevic. Let me get this one. We're not where we need to be defensively to win games. The setback against the Jazz showed we were never able to get stops consistently, and then we would get stops, we didn't rebound. As a team, we have to be better defensively to give ourselves a chance. It's interesting to me, Skee, that the game total came down, or excuse me, the game spread came down from 10.5 to I think 9.5, based on the fact that Zach LaVine showed up for shoot around. If Zach LaVine goes, it makes no defensive difference in that team. It just means they'll go faster. I happen to think that Dallas will respond to Kidd's challenge here to open up quicker at home. They're off of a loss in that building to Indiana the other night. So I have Dallas minus 3.5 first quarter. I think Dallas team total over 60.5, which came down after Zach LaVine was announced. It was announced that he showed up for shoot around. It went from 61.5 down to 60.5. And I think I can get there with that as well. So probably 2 get in and get out plays for me on this game. Dallas first quarter side, Dallas first half team total over 60.5. There's going to be a lot of pace against a team that doesn't play defense and a team that's talking like they want to get out of this shoot quickly tonight.
That's interesting there. Can't talk you off of following those quotes there. I was just thinking about this game, and I don't know. The more I think about it, it gets tough. What I had written down on my list was Mavs team total under 123.5. If they start to miss bigs, like they might start playing more small ball. I want to say even the last game versus the Pacers, they started to play small ball, and that's going to mean they're willing to go with the pace that the Bulls want to play. What I was thinking at first was they don't like to play very fast. They play a little slower. And who's going to control the pace? I was saying the home team and the better team would kind of control the pace a little bit more, but you see it otherwise. So I might pump the brakes on this game here. But on my short list, I did have Mavs team total under 123.5 on my list. I don't think they've cleared that in any. They might have cleared it only the last game versus the Pacers this season.
Right.
But if they're going to play small ball, they could easily get there.
Well, I think, and it's a real small sample size, right? It's one game. But the Pacers play extremely fast the way the Bulls want to play, and the Pacers came into that building and forced their tempo on the Mavericks, or the Mavericks were just willing to go with it, one or the other. But if you use that as an example, you would think, well, maybe Chicago forces it on them again tonight. The Derek Lively injury, obviously, the two-headed center is nice when you have Gafford and Lively. But if you're going to have a lead early, this would play into what you're saying with Dallas team total under 123.5. If you're going to do what they're suggesting they want to do, which is get out to an early lead, you have to play some defense in there. And we know Dallas is real capable of defense. They showed it at the end of last year. And I think you were just reading their offensive points allowed, but their defensive or offensive points scored, their defensive points allowed have been pretty low too so far this year. So you could get into a game where, that's a big number, Skee. I mean, a 122-point victory still gets you paid on Dallas team total under. It's a lot to score.
Yeah, that's what I was considering, but I'm starting to get a little bit nervous on this game. So I think I'll think about it a little bit more. We'll move over to the next one. Thunder and Nuggets opened up Thunder -4. Looks like a 7-point favorite. Total up from 222.5 to 223. Pretty sure, no Aaron Gordon, no Jamal Murray. For OKC, same usual suspects all out. OKC, the other undefeated team, at 7-0, and the Nuggets have been very inconsistent or just very not good. However you want to say it, I'll go for it. I don't like what I've seen from the Nuggets. That's what I'll say. And now, missing a couple more starters, it's no way for me to look at the Nuggets. The only thing I'll say, Rob, is sometimes we see players or, the starters get rolled out and other players step up for a game. I don't know that OKC overlooks them. What do you think?
Well, I think OKC, first game of the year, beat Denver by 15, sort of like, here we are. We know you're the kingpin on this conference. Here we are, 102-87, Oklahoma City. Since that game, as you just said, it's only gotten worse for Denver, right? I mean, Nikola Jokic came out after one game and said, we don't have but two good shooters on the team, or two consistent shooters on the whole team. The rest of us are all streaky. They haven't played good defense whatsoever. They almost get beat by Toronto the other night, 121-119. They win that game. Even if they were focusing on this game, Skee, let's just say, that Denver locker room is OKC beat our ass. We got to send a message back to them. I don't know that they have the personnel right now to do it, to tell you the truth. And their bench, when you start missing starters in the Denver bench that was thin to begin with, I think that's the question about this team is they don't really have a good bench. And those guys have to start playing more minutes against OKC's rotation. I don't give them much of a chance. And so realistically, I think OKC is the right side. To your point and how we see these things happen day in and day out in the NBA, big name starters go down, team still wins anyway. But I just don't know that Denver's capable here against a team they're in this record-setting position. I think they've won 7 straight, all by double digits, and there seems to be no let-up in OKC. It's like they just want to beat everybody by double digits. So I can expect they're going to give me 48 minutes. I think they're better. Price tag's right. OKC probably is the right way to look here.
The chat is in agreement. I've seen one person say Denver, but for the most, I mean, I agree with everything you said. The chat is agreeing. Seeing most of the people loving the Thunder. And Wham says, "Is this a Russell Westbrook game?" Hey, good luck putting your money on it, man. Good luck. That's all I'll say. This next game I think is really interesting, and I thought about it 2 ways, and I completely changed my mind on one. Still thinking about the other, but Heat and Suns, right where the opener was at 5.5. Total hasn't really moved either. Jaime Jaquez Jr. out, Kevin Love out. Bill is the game time decision. So my first thought was just that Phoenix is starting to look better. Looking more like I was expecting them to look. And the Heat, I mean, they look about where I expect them to look, but they don't look very good. I was thinking I was going to play the Suns, but the more I look at the Suns, I mean, they haven't been winning by margin. They've been able to squeak away wins, but as a home favorite, they haven't covered once. Um, I think the Heat, off of the loss that they had versus Sacramento, I think they're going to come out with a really good effort in this game to try and bounce back. And if you look at them so far this season, they are 5-1 ATS in the first half. I was thinking either Heat first half or Heat full game. Any opinions on that before, or if you want to look at the total, I have a opinion on that too.
Yeah, no, actually, this game probably drew my biggest question mark, Skee. So I was more interested in what you had to say about it to see if I could lean on something that you had to say here, because I don't have a real good opinion. I agree with a couple of things you said. I started the year believing that Phoenix, because of their epic failure last year, would be a team on a mission from the opening game this year. Yeah, they're winning some games, but as you mentioned, they're not doing it convincingly by any stretch. So it's hard to lay points with them. It would be guesswork to think when the breakout game is going to come. It could very well be tonight, but who knows? And will it be against an Eric Spoelstra team? I'm not sure I want to get involved in that capacity. Where their totals are concerned, they're all over the map. Some nights they're high-scoring games. Some nights they're not. There's no consistency there either. So where Phoenix is concerned, it's hard for me to put a gauge on anything, whether it be home, away, total, side. I usually like Miami in a spot like this plus points, but I don't know that they're trustworthy yet either, except for what you just pointed out, which is 5-1 ATS first half. It could be a get in and get out type deal. Phoenix has started slow in a lot of games this year. Sometimes it takes a while for their engine to get going. I'm not going to be involved either way. I'll watch it and see if I can learn something, but it's too hard for me to get involved here.
It is a tough game. I was thinking about the under. Let me see. Let's get this up here again. So Just looking at it together here, pace wise for the Heat. If I'm thinking that it's going to be a Heat game, they are going to have to play it slower. Suns don't really want to play up tempo. They will capitalize though. I think, you know, if they do get a fast break, they can score. But for the most part, they don't want to play with too much pace. Both teams pretty good defensively. If it's a Heat game, I think it's slow in defense. I think if it's a fast paced shootout, the Suns are going to run away with this game. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and now that it's funny when we talk these things out, it always triggers something in my mind. And I read a quote, or not a quote, but I read a piece last week reading a Phoenix beat writer who said that part of Budenholzer's strategy to make the Phoenix defense a little bit better was to slow the pace this year, to slow them down so that they couldn't give up as many points because there wouldn't be as many possessions. Again, mathematics. So perhaps that comes into play here. You just pointed out the pace of each team. Miami never really likes to go. They don't turn it over a bunch either, Miami. So it might be hard for Phoenix to get fast break points here. That to me, just hearing you talk, makes a lot of sense looking at under in that game. I think that's where that game could end up. But again, neither team's shown me any consistency one way or another to be super confident in it.
Well, under sounds like we're a little bit more confident than the Heat at this moment, but I am still going to take a look at the Heat. So let me just make sure I got my list in order. I had even put okay, no. Let me cross off that. Let me make sure I got the Heat. So I'll continue to look at that. I'm gonna be making probably a lot of plays today. I just wanted to make sure I got to narrow some down here today before I start shooting. But I am going to shoot today. Next game up, we have only 2 games left. We're doing pretty good. Toronto and Sacramento opened up Kings minus 9.5. Looks like 11. Total open 234. Consensus looks like 237. For the injury report, we do have is quickly still doubtful. Yeah, doubtful. No Scotty Barnes, no Bruce Brown, no Kelly Olynyk. For the Kings, looks like Devin Carter, Orlando Robinson are out. Kevin Herter is game time decision. Um, these teams did just play, right? So the Raptors, I believe, won out, right? And I'm just gonna double check that. Yeah, the Raptors won 131 to 128. So it is a spot for Sacramento to come and try to get a little bit of revenge. But are they gonna be, play good enough to win by double digits? That might be a different story. What do you think about it, Rob?
Yeah, I think every time I see Toronto on the board, Skee, I just skip past side and look total. Defensively, they're so poor and they want to go quickly. Again, it's amazing. You could win a lot of barroom bets with the Raptors because it seems like every year I look up and they happen to lead the league in fast break points. You wouldn't expect it out of them, especially with quickly not playing hardly at all this year, if at all. But they do, and it's just kind of the way they play. Sacramento can be a little up and down, but they've given up a ton of points in their last few games here. And I know a couple of them went overtime, but the last 6, 127, 138, 131, 128, 121. It's why people are, flocking to the over in this game. It's why they pushed it up so high. I prefer somewhat to single it out and slim it down to just a Sacramento total because I think I trust them against this defense. And as you mentioned, coming off the overtime loss to this team recently, but it's 124 and 124 is a ton of points. So probably have to leave it alone, Skee. I think the odds maker has priced me out of it, but I'm not going to argue anybody off something involving the Kings or especially something involving total.
Kings are not the kind of team I want to be laying double digits with. They did cover their one game as a double digit favorite, as it says here. The Raptors have also been good in this row, 2-0 as double digit dogs. The Raptors have been scrappy. When you look at the bodies they have on the floor, it doesn't look like they'll be able to compete, but they're competing every single night. Let me see their ATS. Yeah, 7-1 ATS. I mean, every single night they're competing. it's hard for me to not look at the 11 that you're being offered here tonight. Um, Not the front end of a back to back or second of a back to back. It is the fourth and sixth night for the Raptors, but still early. What I had on my list here was Raptors plus 10.5, which is 11 now, or Raptors team total over. Raptors are averaging, what is this, 119 points per game. Kings are allowing about 114. The team total I saw last night was 113.5. So if we do a little bit of that math we are talking about, Rob, that gets us well over that. I mean, let's look at the Raptors games. 119 versus Denver. They just scored 130 versus this team versus the Lakers, 125. They're not 113.5. Is Sacramento that good defensively, Rob, or Toronto can't score 114?
No, because I just read off the points that they've allowed. I mean, they're not that good defensively. I know we used to joke about Mike Brown preaching to bring defense to this team, but they're just not. The game that went 259, 128 for the Toronto side in overtime. I don't know what they had at the end of regulation, which is what I would want to count, but I have to assume it was way more than 113. I don't think they scored 15 in overtime. So, again, you start putting pieces to the puzzle together, and it makes sense to look at this Toronto side. Grady Dick has been really good offensively, and Abaji can shoot threes. And since Barrett came back, they're not much in the way of a defensive team, but they do have starters at least that can put the ball in the bucket. Davion Mitchell, good defender. So we'll see. I'm with you. It's hard to trust. Just like I said with Houston minus 6.5, it's hard to lay this type of price with Sacramento. There's nothing in their results so far that indicate they should be trusted in this price range. They beat Portland here by 13. I'm just looking. And they went to Utah and won by 17. Both of those games stayed under the number. So I don't know. I'm being contradictory here, so I'll lay off.
The only thing I can say, I mean, I do think that Raptors number is low, but I mean they give up a lot of points too. I mean, if you look at whatever you want to call it, you add the points they're scoring and giving up, it's about where the total is right now. But the points per game and the points Kings are allowing, I mean, 113.5, that's just kind of calling me here. I think I might trust that more than I'll trust the 9. I don't know. Or the 11, I mean. I just for some reason the Raptors team total looks like the best move to me. And I do think I don't really always care what people bet in basketball, but I definitely do not like public dogs, and I think Toronto is going to be just that today. So, a couple of looks at the chat because I was doing some capping while we were talking. I know there's some good stuff that comes in on the chat. Mark is on the plus 10.5. Mike R says Raptors is free. Kyle says Raptors 7-0 ATS last seven straight covers. He jumped on 4 games ago, sees no reason to stop. If you're on that train, you definitely play it till you fall off. Let's see. What's up, Cuban Connect? He likes the Raptors. UCapper says Raptors team total over or Raptors ATS. So he's with me. He agrees on either one of those plays. He says Kings travel from Miami and they have Clippers on deck. Interesting. UCapper, OG Wham agrees with you a little bit there with Grady points. He's becoming popular. I'll say that. All right.
They're 7-11 in pace, Skee, so you're going to get opportunities for sure. They both want to go quick.
The real DJ says under full game. He's the first person I saw say that. That's an interesting take. But we'll keep it moving down the list. One more game on the slate. That is Philly and Clippers. Open Clippers -1. They're now 1.5 point favorite. Total open 217.5. Looks like 214.5 is the consensus. As far as an injury report for Philly, Paul George's game time, he's probable. Embiid is out. He's suspended. Clippers, Bamba out. Kawhi out. PJ Tucker out. It was a big comeback win for the Clippers in that last game. And I believe it was their first game in their new arena. My thought process, Rob, is usually fade teams after they have to come back by so much just because it takes so much energy. But the Sixers, I mean, they haven't looked too good either. That is your neck of the woods over there. What do you think of Philly and the Clippers?
Yeah, all they really want to talk about here is Embiid shoving the reporter. It's I don't know how much stock you put into Paul George playing against the Clippers here. For those who play player props, maybe you think George, he came back last game and maybe ready for this one. This is the Clippers have been bad in this building, right? A brand new building, and they haven't gotten off to a real good start. But that's going to change at some point. They're really too good of a roster to continue to lose. And for Philadelphia, minus Embiid, they're just not the same at the rim. So I kind of looked at the Clippers Skee, but I didn't trust them enough, so I let it go. I don't really like much where the total is concerned here. Philadelphia's offense has not really been good. It's shown up on a couple of occasions, but otherwise it hasn't. Clippers team total was what interested me. I'm looking at my notes here in front of me. Clippers team total kind of interested me at 107.5. To get to 108 at home, it's modern day NBA. 108 seems pretty easy against a team like the Sixers, who aren't necessarily that good of a defensive team. So that could be a look for me in the end, but otherwise I don't have much to add on that game.
Yeah, I think this is one I will not be betting. I think that I'm pretty sure about that. So we still did a great job. We got through all 12 games. I think we did. We gave them a little bit of something on most of them at least. Um, and the chat did a really good job providing info too. So about that time, we'll move over to best bets. And Vino, I'll ask you if there's anything you would like to promote. And if you do have a best bet that you would like to share, feel free. And if you don't, there's no pressure.
Promotion will be real quick, Ski, and it's always in your description. The links to both of our work is there. But wagertalk.com, I'll just quickly say to everybody watching that if you haven't become a member at wagertalk.com, it doesn't take anything but an email address to get instant access to all the free video content they provide every single day, the written content they provide every day. If you're interested in selection packages, mine are always up and available over there. It just came to me, Ski, as we talked about Philly and the Clippers, and neither one of us sounding like we're interested. There is somebody that we both know, since it's the last game on the board, that probably will be involved in that game, but I don't have that type of interest in that game. I'm going to go back, and I will leave a best bet here because I really think that Dallas quote from head coach Jason Kidd is meaningful. A lot of times coaches talk and it can't be applied. It's not applicable. But I think in this case, they're at home. He's asking his team, let's go. He's got veterans in the backcourt that run the show. I think they both hear that. I think they both will produce tonight early. So I like Dallas first quarter minus 3.5 as the best bet for the show.
All right, good stuff from Vino there. And it had to take a second to register, but I got what you were saying there.
We're
Definitely
talking
know
in code. Sorry, guys.
definitely know what you're saying there. My best bet for the show, and you guys know you can find all my work at wagertalk.com as well. My best bet for the show, I got a long list here. This list is like almost a whole page of the notebook that I got to choose from. But I do feel pretty confident about. I may double up on this game some way, shape, or form, but for now, I'll go Houston and San Antonio under 215 is what I'll look at in that game. Um, yeah, under 215. Make sure that's the best number I can get because I do need to lock it in right now. Actually, I see a 215.5 at Caesars. So I'm gonna take every point I can get. I'll take 215.5 on Rockets and Spurs under. Vino, it's great to have you back. I appreciate you taking the time to break down these games with me. We'll be back again on Friday doing it as well for you guys in the chat. A lot of great cappers, a lot of great people in there sharing your work. You're much appreciated as well. And if you guys enjoy the show, hit the like button. If you want to know when we're live all the time, subscribe. And I will be live with Wham, Babano, and Dutch at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I'll catch you guys over there. Until then, Peace.